Hey everyone, so in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about what 2 months of ownership looks like of the Corvette C8 and whether or not buying this car was a mistake. So I'm going to walk you guys through my numbers and kind of give you my perspective on what it's been like so far. But what's a C8 video without a walk around of this gorgeous car? I cannot get enough of how beautiful this car is. And this one is actually an automatic hardtop convertible, so very rare, and I'm obsessed with it. Okay, so for those of you that have been following along with me, you know that I've now had the C8 for a couple months. I listed it back in mid-December, which is when I first got it, and it was quite possibly one of the worst times in all of 2020 to list a car in the Southern California market. Things were so terrible here, mainly because of the restrictions with everything that's been going on, and the market was completely dead. Now, of course, 2020 was such an anomaly of a year, and things were not as normal, but I got in at such a good deal with the C8 that I had to pick it up, knowing that it could potentially be 3 months before, I started picking up on business. So a lot of you guys have been wondering, how has my C8 been doing on the platform? Well, it was definitely a really rough start, and it was really starting to feel like this C8 was going to be a huge mistake and that I just took on a lot of financial risk. But I am happy to report that since then things have started to pick up and the market is changing, as our current events are also changing at the same time. There are so many things that I love about the C8, and it's been going out on rentals, and my favorite part is how amazed my renters are with the experience of this car. They come back being just as obsessed with this car as I am, and I get the most rave reviews on this car. So that makes me happy and kind of reassures my decision with adding a C8 to my fleet. Another thing that I love about these cars is how affordable they are to own. These cars for the base model, they start anywhere between 60 to maybe about 68,000, depending on if you're getting the convertible or not. Mine is on the higher end because I do have the hardtop automatic convertible, which is really rare and absolutely perfect for the Southern California market. I think people absolutely love that feature as much as I do. So far those decisions have been good. Now, it has been a really slow roll into the market, but I knew that going into it, and I think given how things have been going, you always want to make sure you have a little bit of cushion as you add cars on into your fleet, because you kind of just never know what might happen or if there is a slowdown. Now, I think that the worst is behind us, and moving forward things are going to be really great. One of the things that I really like to do is look at other markets that are similar to my market and sort of help use that data and information to guide me on what the future might look like. Now, just a little bit of data from my experience of being on the platform for almost 6 years. Now, prior to 2020, whenever I would add cars to my fleet, I would always base it off of having an average number of rented days in a month being about 20 to 22 days. I kid you not. That's what it used to be, and it was amazing. You could always do things to your listing. If you ran a robust listing where you maintained good communication, dynamic pricing, and you really took care of your renters, you could easily all day long do 20 to 22 days per month, and it was phenomenal. And then 2020 happened, and that was a real hit or miss depending on what part of the country you were in. And now going into 2021, SoCal has really been on a slow roll back to normal business. But looking at a similar market like Miami makes me super hopeful on how well this car is going to do, and I'm definitely really happy with my decision of purchasing the C8. Just this morning I was looking at the Miami market. Today is the 5th of March, and I was looking at some of the C8s in that market, and with today being the 5th, I saw so many C8s that already have 15, 16, 17 days booked out in the month of March, which is insane for being so early in the month. So that just goes to show me that as we kind of get back into the normalcy of business and, you know, our surroundings kind of getting back to normal, things opening up, people feeling more comfortable with traveling, that we will see very similar trends and patterns here in Southern California, in the LA market, the Orange County market, and it'll really sort of reflect and match what is going on in Miami, because Miami is open for business as Florida has remained open for business. So it is attracting a lot of people to travel there, a lot of people to get out and do things. So I think we will see a lot of that. So I'm really excited about the summer. So I'm gonna hop in the car so that I can go over some numbers with you guys and really give you a breakdown of what my day rates look like, what your take home is gonna be, and you know, kind of what the revenue potential is on a car like the Corvette C8. So when it comes to earnings on any particular car that you're going to list on Turo, I think that you really have to do your homework and you have to really ask yourself what's worth it to you, what makes the most sense to you, and what is really your end game in terms of revenue on a car. What type of results do you want to see so that you can pick a car that's going to meet your expectations? So I want to share some numbers with you guys. Now, for me, I'm still very new in the C8 and just barely getting bookings and kind of getting my feet on the ground with it. But I've been testing a ton of day rates. I've been watching my market and watching different markets on this car, and you know, I've been able to gather some really valuable information for that. One of the things that I've seen is that so far a really good range for this car is anywhere between $399 per day up to $620. Lately, over these last couple of weeks, I've been getting that $620 quite frequently, and that makes me very happy because I rather have a smaller number of bookings, less frequent bookings, less wear and tear on the car, less mileage on the car, for a higher day rate versus being priced at, you know, in the low 200s, maybe, you know, 183, 209, which I see a lot of as well, and you see a very high frequency of trips. This is just not one of the cars that I personally want to get a lot of wear and tear on or put a lot of miles on. So I rather be priced a little bit on the high side and take fewer bookings, and they are a little further apart, but take the higher day rate on it. And so everyone has a different strategy, but from what I've seen, I don't think I'll find myself really dipping too far below $399, at least in this current market. I actually anticipate that as we get into the summer months, I'll be able to get even higher than $620, probably close to, you know, I don't know, maybe around $800 or so per day, depending on what the demand is. If it's anything like what's going on in Miami, I think that there is so much potential here. So let's break down the math a little bit. Now, when looking at the price of this car, is $60,000 to about $68,000, depending on what type of base model you get, you're looking at a payment of between $800 to $1,200. For me personally, I like to get into a car that will do at least 3 times its payment in revenue. That's usually my baseline goal, if not more. That's when I find that it's worth my time. So it's different for everybody. I do this full time, so that's kind of a good sweet spot for me. Now let's break down the math a little bit. Like I said, on a typical year before 2020, I would base my averages on 20 to 22 days out of the month for bookings, and I would get that all day long on pretty much every single car. Things are a little bit different, so I am bringing my averages down now to do my math and run my numbers, because we still haven't seen a consistency in business, although I think that here in Southern California, we're literally just months away from that. People in other parts of the country like Phoenix or Miami, I think even Denver, Atlanta, I know they're seeing a tremendous uptick in business, and we are not far behind from them. So I think that the rest of the year is going to be really, really promising. So if you're at a day rate of $399, I'm going to use an average days rented out per month of 15. I think that that is a very fair number to anticipate in the upcoming months. A lot of hosts are on the 70% rev share plan with Turo, meaning you give Turo 30% of your earnings in exchange for a certain host protection plan, which in this case, the 70% plan means you have a $250 deductible in case anything happens, which I think is very reasonable. So $399 per day, I don't know how many nines I just said, at 15 days out of the month roughly brings you just under $6,000 per month. Now you take that with Turo's rev share, you subtract Turo's rev share, and you're looking at about $4,200 a month in profit. So not bad at all with the cost. Now you have your car payment if you are financing or leasing, and then you have your insurance on top of that. Insurance varies for everyone, so you just have to kind of take into account what that is. Why I like getting into new cars like this is because maintenance is not really a variable. So far in the last couple months, no out-of-pocket costs, so I don't really have any maintenance to take into consideration just yet. So that is really the beauty of being in newer cars. Now let's take the top end of the day rates. $620 per day at 15 days rented out of the month brings you right around $9,300 per the month. Not bad. Really good, in fact. And if you take out Turo's revenue share of 30%, you as the host, you are left with about $6,500 for the month. So that is, I think, actually really great. And now let's just say we take our day rates and we average it out, right? We want to kind of land somewhere in the middle. Maybe this is in summer and you want to look for a higher frequency of trips, so you drop your rates just a little bit, but you're still in the high end range, but you want to be a little bit competitive. So if you average out both day rates, the $399 and the $620, you land at around $510 per day or so. You take that times 15 days and you're looking at about $7,600. Take into account Turo's revenue share and you end up at about $5,300 per month. So still not bad. And if you even take your lowest day rate of $399 and you maybe shave off another 25% off of that and you run the same numbers, you're still doing almost 3 times the car payment on a car like this. And I think that that is great. These are the sort of things that I look at when I consider getting into a car. That tells me the potential at a bare minimum of what a car can do for me, and then I evaluate whether it's worth it for me or not. And if Miami tells us anything, which I think it really does, because we have such similar markets, we have such similar inventory, a lot of the same type of people that would travel to Miami would also travel to Southern California. I think this summer is going to be explosive on the Turo platform. We are going to see business return in a way that I think we have not ever seen on this platform, and I'm really excited for that. I'm excited to gear up for that, and taking all of this stuff into consideration has me really thinking about adding another sports car to my fleet, hopefully within the next couple months. And these are the type of numbers that I'm looking for. So for me, and sort of my evolution of being on Turo, I do really want to cater to the higher end market where you can get the higher day rates. That seems to work well for me, and again, it just aligns with my goals and my market that I'm in. So this varies for everybody. So the thing that basically I want to share with you guys is that so many of you guys are right now are messaging me, or you're a part of my private membership community, and you're talking to me about, you know, certain cars that you want to get into for your marketplace. Most important thing is do the research, really study what's going on in your area, and find a wedge for yourself to where you can really meet a need in the market, right? So right now, cars that are popular in a lot of markets are Teslas, but is it oversaturated? Do your homework and see if there is enough room for you to come in. Maybe Model 3s are just way too saturated in every market, and as time goes on, what's the probability that there's going to be even more Model 3s? That probability is probably pretty high, because those cars are so affordable and they are becoming so popular in society just in general, that more people are going to have that car, which means more people will list it, right? So maybe when you're looking at Teslas, the opportunity is really in maybe like the Model S or the Model X, the models that are not as prominent on the marketplace. And maybe these are models that, you know, people can use for road trips. They're a little bit more spacious, a little bit more comfortable. Maybe it targets families who are road tripping this summer, because one thing that we do know about this year and sort of the trend that's going to take place is that people are going to be planning more road trips versus traveling by air. So some of these things are going to continue on into the year that we've experienced in 2020, and people are adopting sort of these new ways of experiencing life. You know, they are going to a lot of these national parks and driving places. So you want to take all of that into consideration. So was the purchase of this C8 a good idea? I think so. I don't have enough data just yet. I'm still very new into this car, but so far all my data points are suggesting that this was a good purchase and that's going to perform very well in the marketplace in the upcoming months, and that's going to crush it in summer. So I just want to share with you guys what's been going on with my C8 lately, what the day rates are looking like, and kind of what my strategy is and the way that I think about it when I approach listing a car and what makes sense for me. So make sure you ask yourself those questions about what your expectations are, what your goals are, and what you're trying to accomplish. That is going to be a big part of you figuring out what car you're going to list, and it'll make all the difference in your Turo journey. And I'll say it again, I think that 2021 is absolutely going to crush it on the Turo platform in a way that we've never seen before. I've been saying this since last year, and everything is pointing in that direction. So if you've been thinking about getting onto the platform, now is really the time. Do your due diligence, do your homework, do your research, and really enter the market with a lot of confidence that you will perform well if you put in the work and do your research and cater to the market, offer that value, and at the end of the day, it's all about that experience that you provide to your guests. Remember, when people leave reviews, almost 80 to 90% of the time, they review the host before they review the car. So it's all about that human connection that you're making and that experience that you're providing, and a car like the C8 complements that so well. It's exactly what people hope and dream that it is, and they're super excited about it, which makes me excited about it and makes me just want to do more of that on a platform like Turo. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like it. Once again, my name is Saimah. This is Saimah's Experience, and if you like this channel, be sure to subscribe. Take care, guys.